cause experiences record lows for stream. Jose Chili De Castro went live again late Saturday night with a near-record low 108 viewers on his main YouTube channel, a number that De Castro attributed to shadow banning, even though he could not account for such low numbers on platforms outside of YouTube. De Castro seemed to be going through the motions as he live-streamed for an hour with a heart out hanging over his head as he went into the usual batch of anti-police videos and rants. With literally nothing to talk about, De Castro featured a video of a motorcyclist disputing a traffic pullover. De Castro criticized the driver for not invoking his Fifth Amendment rights, as the driver volunteered information that his registration had expired. De Castro spent time both disparaging and backing the driver's license system in America. The YouTuber attempted to appeal to his audience who believes that driver's licenses are a scam, but also reminded his audience that they must take part in the scam, as going without a license means court costs, fines, and possible jail time. The YouTuber had nothing new to say on the limited broadcast, which was apparently done to pad his watch hours. He eventually repeated another old claim that he was an empath, even as he repeatedly showed footage of a person being killed in an incident with police officers expressing great joy during the video. He also showed his great knowledge of steroids, as he claimed a police officer was on the juice just by admiring his upper body in a tight shirt. De Castro lingered a bit on the officer's form, explaining that the man's trapezius muscles were unnatural and enhanced by steroids. Giving an update to his constitutional law scholar board game, De Castro stated that it was both ready now and 80% complete in the same breath. He said that his fans can follow new videos of the creation of the board game on his TeamDLZ.com platform, where he drops daily new videos occasionally. He promised teaching sessions to his members of TeamDLZ.com and that the release date of the game has been delayed again until January of 2025. De Castro had a heart out and left his fans wanting more, but promised that he would be featuring daily cop watches and audits when he visited his family later in Las Vegas over the Christmas holiday. Globemom family asks for help for memorial. YouTuber Annalisa Globemom Reynolds' daughter Caitlin released a new YouTube short last week giving thanks to fans of her mother and asking for help to pay for a memorial service in her mother's honor. Caitlin wrote on her mother's memorial page, "My mom, Annalisa Reynolds, passed away from brain cancer on November 22, 2024. She was loved and cherished by many. I have created this fundraiser for those who would like to help contribute to her memorial service. Date to be determined. This money will go towards her memorial service expenses, and anything left over will be donated to cancer research. I want to thank everyone again for reaching out and offering their support, as it means the world to me and my family." Reynolds passed away in November after a short and difficult bout with cancer. She didn't get a chance to say goodbye to her fans, and the memorial service may be live-streamed in order to help bring closure to her friends, family, and fans. Known best for her What the Hell, Karen? YouTube series and for fighting with flat earthers, Reynolds was a great fan and supporter of many in the First Amendment auditing community. Her fans cheered her on in 2022 when she stood up to doxing and harassment from Jose Chili De Castro, who struck her channel in his great copyright crackdown that temporarily took down many channels including Irish Demon and Uncle Artie. When De Castro made her harassment public, doxing Reynolds and her family in the process, Reynolds would not yield to his demands, and he ultimately blinked as both YouTube and Twitter temporarily banned his accounts until he removed the docs. To those who knew her, she was bold, fierce, and independent. She carried herself respectfully and was known for being outspoken and funny as hell in the process. Reynolds' daughter thanked her mother's fans as even as she was sick with cancer, YouTube brought her great joy and helped her in trying times to bring some light to her world. The family has set up a fund for the memorial service on screen right now. Currently, they're a little over $300 from achieving their goal. We realize that it's the holiday season and times are tough all over. They're very close to their goal, and we ask that if you have anything to spare, please give it to them. If you can't contribute to her fund, please take time to go to her channel and give her What the Hell, Karen series some time. Like, share, subscribe, you know the drill. Keep her memory alive, especially if you need some cheer during the holidays this year. Reynolds supported both our newspaper and our YouTube channel from the start. Her simple act of kindness in promoting our YouTube channel early on brought us hope in a very dark time. Her passing came too quickly for us to pay her back for her kindness. Her humor and her spirit are missed greatly, but will live on through the appreciation of her work. Again, please donate if you can and revisit her What the Hell Karen series if you need a good laugh. You won't be disappointed. Hendry, Long Island audits funds ignored by fans. The GoFundMe market died over the weekend as we saw no donations to any of the funds that we follow over the weekend, with the market continuing to spurn both Craig Hendry's campaigns, the SCARS campaign, and Sean Paul, Long Island audits, Reyes in general. But things start at home, so let's look at our own campaign. We receive a large donation on Friday, and when we do, things tend to slow down for some time following that donation. That's just the trend, and we don't expect the deviation to change this week as the Christmas shopping season ends and people focus on putting away what little money they have left over for the new year. We've heard in the past that auditors don't like GoFundMe in general because of the 2022 Freedom Convoy incident in Canada. Essentially, early in 2022, a group of truckers had gathered in Toronto and Ottawa, Canada, to protest mandates related to vaccinations. When those protests turned violent, GoFundMe froze the campaigns related to the protests. They stopped paying out and gave refunds to anyone who requested them. Lawsuits were launched, and there was a brief anti-GoFundMe movement as GiveSendGo offered to pick up the slack for the protesters. Often, folks like Jose Chili de Castro used these protests from nearly 3 years ago and the actions of GoFundMe to deter the use of the service. Of course, in de Castro's case, it didn't stop him from opening 4 GoFundMe campaigns last year and taking in over $50,000 from his fans to help with various causes before he closed the accounts under mysterious circumstance without refunding any of the money he took in. The other strike against GoFundMe campaigns is apathy from both the creators of the campaigns and their target audience. We've said it dozens of times now, running a campaign is work. People will not give if they don't know that you have an active GoFundMe campaign. While we get trolled all the time for including our blurb at the end of every GoFundMe column, the blurb is effective in reminding people that we have a campaign and we still need your help. Let's look at the active campaigns we follow. Again, eliminating all of de Castro's as they're currently suspended and any other campaign that cannot receive donations. Most of the campaigns that we follow seem to have been set up and immediately forgotten by their organizers. This list includes Just to Spite Chili de Castro, $0 brought in out of a $50 goal. This campaign went backwards as it had donations at one point. Support Delete Laws from the Tyranny He Fights, $371 raised out of a $20,000 goal. Not an official Delete Laws fundraiser, and its last known donation was 5 months ago. Help BZ Watchdog Hold Police Accountable, $100 raised out of a $2,500 goal. Last donation came 5 months ago. Thailand or Philippines Tour, Floyd Wallace, $410 raised out of a $3,000 goal. Last donation 11 months ago. Support Texas Sheepdog 72 and his fight for your rights, $407 raised out of a $5,000 goal. Last donation 9 months ago. A family fallen on hard times, Jeremiah Payne, $80 raised out of a $7,000 goal. Its last donation came 10 months ago. Support justice and empower community voices, Rage Girl Radio, $20 raised out of a $20,000 goal. Its last donation came 3 months ago. There are other campaigns that have run their course due to extenuating circumstances. This group includes most of Long Island Audit's campaigns, though we'll get to him later. Support Press with Ranker's Legal Fund, $4,194 taken in out of a $45,000 goal. Its last donation was 5 months ago. This fund literally ended with a fallout between Garrett Press with Ranker, Van Nett, and Jose Chili de Castro. De Castro no longer promotes the campaign, so it died. Cover defense costs against a frivolous lawsuit, Blue Bacon, $19,730 raised out of a $15,000 goal. Last donation 3 months ago. This campaign met its goal. It gets a drive-by promotion now and then, but is otherwise dead. Help for Public Safety Fight Fraud recovered, $3,687 raised out of an $8,500 goal. Its last donation came 7 months ago. Christopher Reeder has become toxic and a LOL cow in the past 7 months. He doesn't promote the campaign, and it has died as there's no interest in giving. Support Craig's fight against injustice. Craig Hendry, $885 raised out of a $15,000 goal. The last donation was made 27 days ago. This one seems to have died because Hendry's support team switched to his other campaign. Jumping to Sean Paul, Long Island Audits Reyes. The man is a special case in every way, shape, and form. His campaigns live and die by the controversy he manages to stir up. Right now, it's the end of the year, and he really doesn't have a new controversy to promote, so all of his campaigns are down. We have no doubt that the second he gets something to promote, he'll be pulling in huge donations again. He's managed to raise over $100,000 from GoFundMe, and will surely return to the service when he needs an influx of quick cash. That leaves our regular campaigns that tend to get donations when they're promoted and are currently making up the bulk of wins and losses in our daily tracking. Defend DMA in the overlong campaign title, Christopher Denver Metro Audits, Cordova has raised $800 out of a $20,000 goal. He gets donations when he remembers to promote the campaign, but currently can't be bothered. Last donation came a month ago. To support Craig's work, Craig Hendry, $5,061 raised out of a $4,000 goal. For whatever reason, this is the campaign Hendry's camp is promoting at the moment. Its last donation came 2 days ago and gets donations whenever it is promoted. Help Christopher Ruff clear his name. Direct D. $11,655 raised out of $100,000. The last donation came a month ago, and this one is teetering between dead and active, depending on if his fans discover it on their own. Ruff is not promoting it. He's making enough off of his YouTube channel to meet his needs, and while it gets wins here and there, it won't be active anytime soon. Support the fight for our constitutional rights. Liberty Troll, $1,585 raised out of a $30,000 goal. Again, this one gets drive-by donations, but isn't being actively promoted. Not a lot is known about the cause, and he gets donations as he promotes it. Boost SCAR's mission for veterans and citizens. The Angry Vet, $1,180 raised out of a $20,000 goal. The campaign's last donation came in 4 days ago. This one is confusing as the Angry Vet is currently running an active campaign for donations. However, the Angry Vet's current LOL cow status will mean this campaign will get drive-by status at best and the occasional win for the day on slow days. We'll update this list next month to see if things change in the new year.
Journalism is not free. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, keeping the cats fed, and writing new stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, we do have a GoFundMe set up at the address on screen right now. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.
Floyd Wallace bores himself, fans, into silence. Fans were alarmed by the chaotic life of Floyd Wallace during his Sunday livestream as he lashed out at learning, demanded money to take advice from others, and saw one of his former supporters offer to donate to charity if his fans did not help Wallace achieve his financial goals. Wallace was in an upbeat mood as the livestream began, promising that he would be devoting a portion of every livestream to learning Spanish on his own, with help from his fans. This was a reverse of previous statements that he did not need to know the language and that if his fans wanted him to learn the language, they needed to pay him. He said he would be fundraising for his eventual departure from Colombia for Brazil, but instead started a $100 fundraising campaign in order to go to Bogota, Colombia, as he wanted to spend Christmas with a woman who apparently offered him sex. Wallace's fundraiser was immediately countered by former supporter of that social owner, who posted in Wallace's side chat, "If nobody sends him money, I'll donate $200 to cancer research for children or any charity of your choice has nothing to do with Floyd." The fundraiser made $1 towards the $100 goal by the end of the live stream. It is unclear if that social owner will make his promised donation to the charity, since, technically, Wallace received at least a single donation to his campaign. Wallace was angered by that social owner's actions and began to get annoyed with his side chat and lack of donations from his viewers. He then returned to insisting that he would not answer questions unless they were made through Super Chat or Cash App donation. After one of these donations, Wallace answered the question of how much he made off of YouTube each month. He admitted that he made around $2,000 a month from his main channel, as he was currently shadow banned. He bragged that he was set to be paid on Monday and then could travel freely to Bogota or Brazil on his own without the need of a fundraiser. Wallace got further angered at his viewers after initially admitting that he was down to $1,000 in his bank account, and that he had left the United States with $2,000 to his name, and that he still had outstanding fees due for his probation in Texas and fines due for a traffic ticket in New Mexico that have seen a warrant issued for Wallace's arrest. This led to Wallace lashing out at his fans, now screaming that he was in charge of his life, and that if anyone wanted him to listen to their advice, or even think about taking their advice, they must bribe him. He would no longer listen to unsolicited advice without a cash payment. He also stated that he would no longer learn Spanish for free. He reversed course from his earlier announcement and would only attempt to learn the language if his fans donated to each session. Otherwise, he was fine, and his fans should stop complaining to him about his lack of effort to learn. While Wallace's 138 live viewers surpassed Jose Chili de Castro's recent draws to his live streams, Wallace bemoaned the lack of donations, even though he received a steady stream of super chats throughout the program. Wallace ended the live stream early as he said he ran out of things to talk about. The YouTuber is expected to go live again on Monday.
De Castro shows off changes in new LA audit. In perhaps the most boring audit ever produced, leaving his most ardent fans searching for anything positive to say about his work, Jose Chili de Castro released on Monday an audit featuring an apparent homeless man being apprehended by police in downtown Los Angeles. De Castro's video featured a dark-haired man who towered over the 6 or 7 police officers surrounding him. He was already in handcuffs at the start of De Castro's video and was screaming that he wanted to go home to his daughter. The video editor hired by De Castro randomly sliced pictures of De Castro making faces at the camera, apparently attempting to look like he was concerned for the man's well-being. De Castro would later complain that holding up 2 phones was difficult as he was still out of shape from his time in jail earlier this year. Eventually, De Castro made his pitch for digital detainment, wondering why the man was in torture cuffs despite knowing the man was being apprehended for assault with a deadly weapon and was screaming at the police. De Castro eventually seemed pleased when the police took the man to be identified by a witness and the witness apparently failed to identify him. His happiness was short-lived as the officer still put the man in the back of a squad car and took him to jail. The video was an example of De Castro's new conflict-free style of auditing, as some of his viewers have complained that De Castro was effectively neutered by his jailing earlier in the year. His great fear of being arrested again has seen him change his approach to auditing and interacting with police. For example, he no longer screams that he is a constitutional law scholar as if it holds some authority and no longer insults and degrades officers to their faces. Those who are used to him confronting police or interjecting himself upon a police action were disappointed as he stayed 5 feet away from the scene and treated the officers on scene with respect. Other viewers have complained that De Castro talks a good game behind his computer screen or in the presence of his few actual friends, calling for the death of police officers and making degrading and humiliating comments towards them but then turning around and being friendly and cordial to them to their faces. The practice, they say, again, gives into the idea that De Castro is a paper tiger and no longer is worth the investment of time and money, as he no longer provides the entertainment value he once did when his actions backed up his words. This is apparent as De Castro has claimed that he is shadow banned by YouTube and that there are large swaths of people, he has 625,000 subscribers after all, who want to view his videos but can't due to a ban. But this doesn't explain why De Castro is doing so poorly on the new YouTube channels he opens, let alone on non-YouTube platforms. A recent video that he pulled from YouTube, for example, is still live on Twitter and only had 43 views as of press time, even though it's the only way to see the video. With DeCastro's failure to meet a promised Christmas 2024 release for his Constitutional Law Scholar board game, his self-neutering with his absolute fear of going back to jail, and his rapidly aged and degraded body as he hit 50 and it shows, 2024 may be ending with DeCastro old, forgotten and penniless as he pretends otherwise. This is a continuing news story.
Wallace Rage quits own live stream again. Floyd Wallace found himself in a familiar place on Monday, as his extended fundraising effort for a trip to Brazil ended without meeting its goal, and with Wallace again rage quitting the stream. Wallace was pestered during the stream by user Snow Travels, who wanted Wallace to pay him the $100 he owes for losing a bet with the viewer. Wallace has promised to pay Snow Travels back for a month now, but has made an extended game of delaying paying him back as a one-sided joke at Snow Travels' expense. The main concern of the live stream was to raise $200. Wallace said he needed to travel to Brazil, and $100 he claimed to need to travel to Bogotá, Colombia. The Bogotá trip for the Christmas holiday would come first, as Wallace repeatedly claimed that he had a woman waiting for him to provide sexual favors for the holiday. Wallace was frustrated as it was payday for most YouTubers, and he hadn't received notice that his monthly pay, which he now estimates at $2,500 between all three of his monetized YouTube accounts, had not hit his bank account as of yet. The YouTuber managed to raise $25 from a viewer who wanted moderation manager status on his channel and immunity from banning, leaving the goal for his Brazil trip at $175, where it remained through the end of the stream. As YouTube creators who were in his side chat all said that they had received notice that their YouTube payments had gone through, Wallace became more and more agitated. Finally checking his email to see the notice that a payment had indeed gone through to his bank account, Wallace began to make excuses that the money would take some time to actually be deposited in his bank account. Snow Travels immediately warned the chat that a rage quit was coming and that Wallace would delete the stream. Wallace said that wouldn't happen, and 3 minutes later, the stream was ended and deleted, and Wallace purchased a ticket to Bogotá, Colombia on his own with the money from his YouTube revenue. Wallace has live-streamed twice since then and will feature the write-ups of his continued failed fundraisers, along with what led Wallace to ban our Really Cool News account from his side chat in our next issue. Craig Henry faces 3 more sets of charges. The cold spell gripping America continues to freeze out the market as we narrowly avoided goose eggs for another day with a small donation to Craig Henry's to support Craig's work campaign to end the total destruction of the market over the past week. As Henry would admit, $20 is $20. He got the win for the day as no other campaigns received donations for Monday. Henry's currently serving 2 sentences in Indiana for felony stalking and a misdemeanor charge of harassment by means of a telephone call. Henry is serving his time concurrently and was sentenced to 548 days for the first sentence and 180 days on the second. A third charge was dropped as it was considered possible double jeopardy. Henry also gets credit for the 79 days he served prior to sentencing and will be eligible for good time served if he keeps out of trouble. For those wondering why Henry switched GoFundMe campaigns from the one claiming to go directly to his appeal to the more generic fund, there may be a reason for it. Despite Henry's failure to mention it, he asked for and was appointed a public defender to handle his appeal on December 20th, 2024. Henry also owes $229 in court costs and filing fees. The YouTuber is currently facing the following charges in Indiana. Green Superior Court, criminal misdemeanor, 35-44.1-3-1, A1/MA, resisting law enforcement, def. Knowingly/intentionally forcibly resist/obstruct, 35-44.1-2-14/MC, unlawful encroachment on an investigation approaches within 25 feet of LEO lawfully. Green Superior Court, criminal misdemeanor, 35-44.1-2-3D, 5/MB, false informing def. Makes a false complaint against a law enforcement office. Sullivan Circuit Court, felony 6, 35-45-2-1A 4/F6. Intimidation. Committed because of the occupation, etc. 35-45-1-3A 2/MB. Disorderly conduct. Unreasonable noise. 35-44.1-4-5/MA. Refusing to leave emergency incident area def. Not a firefighter. Knowingly or it.
Journalism is not free. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, keeping the cats fed, and writing new stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, we do have a GoFundMe set up at the address on screen right now. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.
Returning to an old dangerous practice of live streaming while driving, Jose Chili de Castro spent part of Christmas Eve endangering the lives of others while expressing his thanks to his supporters with words of hope as they continue to live in the land of the free and home of the slaves. The year has turned out to be one of the worst ones for de Castro, though it started out so brightly. At the start of the year, de Castro was riding high with victory after victory. He was able to drag out both of his court cases at will and without effort. His fundraising efforts were phenomenal, to the point that he had set up at least 2 GoFundMe campaigns devoted to helping other auditors, and the Ides of March came and took everything away. De Castro's conviction of obstruction brought everything to an end. He got lippy with the judge and was sentenced to immediately go to jail. While he would eventually win on a questionable appeal, he served almost his complete sentence before that happened in jail left him changed. While in the movies those who are wrongly convicted go to jail and find themselves, lose weight, embrace the teachings of Ayn Rand and get their lives in order to come back and smite their enemies, de Castro came back broken in every aspect of his personality. He was fat. His hair had gone white as he approached his 50th birthday. He was meek and silent, though flashes would come through time to time of his old spirit. He eventually would develop worrying characteristics in his speech as he would be animated and normal during daylight hours, then slow and rambling at night, to the point where he would need to be played at 2x speed in YouTube videos to match his vigor. De Castro embraced a new concept of producing a Constitution-themed board game, instead of teaching the Constitution in a series of forever delayed courses. He claimed that he had a vision that he'd set the world on fire with sales. He simply ignored the research that says that a board game takes up to a decade to develop, let alone get into big box stores, and the market for board games, let alone based on the Constitution, is non-existent. De Castro also went after petty vengeance. He wasn't invited to a gathering of East Coast-based auditors who were assembling on behalf of Leonard Leroy Truth Filipowski over the summer. He didn't even find out about the event until after it had started, attempting and failing to counter-program at the last minute to pretend to be part of the event. He was already steaming as most of his fellow auditors rejected his idea that would put de Castro as the leader of all First Amendment auditors and would have to pay dues to him, and now it was revealed that he had taken the idea one step further. Around the same time, it was revealed that he had applied for the trademark to both First Amendment Auditor and 1st Amendment Auditor for use in merchandise. That's right, if they weren't going to join him, he'd take away their ability to call themselves First Amendment auditors. The trademark is in doubt as the year ends, and again, most auditors simply rebranded to the tag of independent journalist over the past 2 years. However, it led to one of the more hilarious de Castro failures of the year as he decided to ditch his Delete Laws branding and focus solely on his new First Amendment Auditor YouTube channel. At press time, that channel seems to be frozen with 417 subscribers and 5 videos. The same levels it's been at for weeks. His decision to leave YouTube for Patreon then failed, drawing under 10 paying subscribers a peak, before he gave up on it completely. Refocusing on Twitter also failed, as he quickly abandoned the jump after discovering that making any money off of Twitter required actual work and almost 100,000 times his average of 41 views on his latest videos from paid Twitter accounts. His rebrand to an independently run TeamDLZ.com website gathered less than 100 paid customers and hasn't turned into the financial and windfall and new social media powerhouse he had hoped. His whole adult material YouTube bombing, which took his main channel down briefly near the end of the year, may have been his salvation and his curse. There's great debate as to his involvement in the bomb, with equal parts of observers claiming that he was an innocent victim of the situation and those who said that he staged the incident in a failed attempt to support his rebrand to his First Amendment auditor channel. He only abandoned the idea of giving up his main channel when he found out that his supposed 625,000 viewers to that channel either weren't real or weren't willing to start over with him. In other words, he was going to lose the between $4,000 and $7,000 he makes in a month by giving up his main channel's revenue stream, and he quickly found YouTube as Jesus. Observers noted that after the supposed bombing he no longer uses the threat of YouTube/China taking his channel down as an apocalyptic reason why his supporters need to follow his every move. After the bombing, he seemed to refocus. He started to ditch everything that didn't work. The rebranding, the moves to other platforms, the punishing of his enemies, eating himself into a sugar coma every night, all went by the wayside. While he's yet to ditch his boring version of auditing where he no longer angrily engages police officers, the very thing that drew people to his channel in the first place, and instead engages respectfully and is just another face in the crowd. He still does fire and brimstone anti-police videos, but no longer serves as a pitchman for his own products. The end result has been, well, bad. Floyd Mr. Passport Bro Wallace regularly outdraws DeCastro's live streams, as Floyd spiraling into LOL cow status is much more entertaining than anything that DeCastro can produce. Lane Meyer has taken over as resident First Amendment wildcard who people tune into. First Amendment Protection Agency is prettier and younger and gets all the chicks. As 2024 ends, DeCastro is again at a crossroads. We've seen him here before, we've seen him make all the wrong decisions, we've seen him turn victory into defeat time after time. With his looks fading, his hair now white, before dying, his body failing, his 625,000 subscribers being turned off in droves, does he have what it takes to rebound? We'll continue to report on his exploits in the new year. As far as Tuesday's livestream, DeCastro claimed that he didn't care when people made fun of his height, claiming and sticking to the statement that he was 5 feet 8 inches tall, despite direct evidence that he was 5 feet 5 inches tall at best. His hair could have made up that last 3 inches as it was combed straight up, which would have made him at least 6 feet 1 inch tall if he was the height he claimed. Again repeating an old lie, he claimed his van was almost self-driving, while he drove with his hands off the wheel and reading chat. This was what he claimed about his old van and had yet to claim about the new one. He promised that he'd buy himself a new Tesla in the next year and that he would be able to stream and drive fully with Tesla's self-driving capabilities. DeCastro said he was on his way to Walmart/China to pick up presents for children who were under 10 years old. He said that children that age don't care about the presents, they just care about opening big boxes with wrapping paper. Finally, he claimed that his dog Charlie was doing well, and was worth all the money he spent to keep Charlie alive.
Liberty Troll gets Christmas Eve GoFundMe miracle. In what only can be described as a surprise win for the day, Liberty Troll emerged from seemingly nowhere to take in $1,510 and the GoFundMe victory for Christmas Eve. The staggering take, surpassing Craig Hendry's amazing recent single-day take of $1,130, came at the hands of second-place finisher for the day, Sean Paul, Long Island Audit's Reyes, whose Support the Fight Against Tyranny and Corruption campaign came in second for the day. There were no other donations to any other campaigns that we follow. Reyes was responsible for the incredible take as he essentially repackaged Liberty Troll's account of his January 11, 2024, arrest in Polk County, Florida, in a new video and provided a direct link to Liberty Troll's GoFundMe page in the description of the video. That's all it took, as we've been saying all along. The power of Reyes viewers did the rest, as they donated relentlessly during the day, fueled by Liberty Troll's story of being wrongfully convicted in the incident. Reyes fans were compelled to donate based on Liberty Troll's story that he was wrongly arrested for filming inside the Polk County, Florida tax collector's office in January. After providing the name John Doe to police, he was ultimately tried and convicted of trespassing, giving a false ID to police and trespassing. Liberty Troll spent 48 hours in jail as police needed to identify him, had his car impounded, and was eventually sentenced to 12 months probation and 20 days community service for his crimes. His GoFundMe has been fairly dormant for months now, with the single-day GoFundMe record set seemingly out of the blue due to the unexpected promotion of Sean Paul Reyes, who is by far the most powerful remaining First Amendment auditor. Not even Jose Chili de Castro, who claims to be the king of fundraising, has shown the power to match Reyes' abilities for any of his causes in recent days. We will continue to monitor Reyes' altruistic turn and crowning himself as the new king of fundraising as the new year begins. Journalism is not free. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, keeping the cats fed, and writing new stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, we do have a GoFundMe set up at the address on screen right now. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.
Floyd Wallace leaves for Bogota for holiday gift. An angry Floyd Wallace held two live streams late Monday into Tuesday as the YouTuber was enraged at his fans for failing to come through for his fundraising demands and that he had to pay his own way to Bogota, Colombia. Wallace raged on the first live stream that if his fans did not provide him with the $175 he said he needed for a ticket to Brazil, he would provide them with the much-hated blog-style content and would not live stream while he was in the country. The YouTuber now planned to stay in Brazil from January until early March in order to partake in the annual carnival event in Rio de Janeiro. Salivating at the stories he's heard of the intimate conquests to be had during the celebration, Wallace lingered idea of watching public intimate acts as he felt the event was a celebration of the passport bro lifestyle, with free intimate acts for all involved. Wallace, however, balked at the idea of participating in intimate acts in public, stating that one time he was kissed by multiple people at a concert and didn't feel right about it. While he's bragged about having multiple partners at once and fighting possible STDs by taking a shower to wash his genitals afterwards, the idea of public romantic encounters left him fearful as he pledged to view and not participate while in Rio. Assuring his fans that he had women lined up in Brazil, he became frustrated as his Monday fundraising efforts resulted in a single dollar being donated to his cause. Wallace became angered by the lack of support from his fans and carried that anger over during his Tuesday livestream from an airport where he said he was awaiting his flight to Bogota. The YouTuber immediately banned accounts from those people he deemed trolls who did not regularly donate through Super Chats and Cash App. Our own Really Cool News account was caught up in this, as we simply asked a question in the room's topic of Wallace's possible superpower if he were a superhero before being banned. Wallace had more problems as he banned a longtime supporter named Will, finally sending the man $65 he had owed him over the past year and announcing he was done with him. Not so lucky was regular room contributor Snow Travels, who is owed $100 after winning a bet with Wallace. Wallace mercilessly mocked Snow Travels for a third straight live stream, making it clear that like his probation fees in Texas and fees from Ticket in New Mexico which saw a warrant issued for his arrest, he'd never ever pay the man. Later appearing in the chat, News Now Springfield, the former News Now Lisa, who is Wallace's ex-girlfriend, entered the chat and announced that she had filed a police report about Wallace. She claimed that Wallace destroyed her truck and promised her his car in return while he was overseas. When the time came to give News Now Springfield his car, Wallace apparently reneged on the deal, leaving her without transportation. Wallace mocked his ex before apparently banning her, then ended the stream after complaining that his fans were disrespectful and assuring them he would be back later Wednesday once he arrived in Bogotá. He did not keep that promise as of press time.
Lane Myers addresses fans in incoherent Christmas Eve rant. Christmas Eve saw the new savior of First Amendment auditing, Lane Myers, take to live streaming on his YouTube channel with an address to his fans in what he called a shareholders meeting while having dinner with his wife at a park in Sedona, Arizona. More rambling and incoherent than usual, Myers openly took hits of Kamala Kush during his live stream, publicly indulging in the park while children were gathered nearby. Now higher than a kite, he went into a long and complicated ramble about his future events. Myers claimed to have a court date on Thursday of this week, which he wanted to charge the judge in the case with inflicting unusual pain and suffering on him, as he would have to interrupt his vacation to go to the court date. His wife interjected that she was not leaving her vacation for the court date, so he would have to keep himself in check as she was apparently not making the drive to bail him out while she vacationed. Myers then said that his wife lost her career to his postings on YouTube and that he would be taking down judges in Arizona as revenge for her loss, going into an extended rant about how he was tired of getting beaten by stupid little rules and that the truth shall set everyone free. The YouTuber called on more judges to sue First Amendment auditors, citing Judge Alexander Ball of Tucson, Arizona's recent defamation case against the YouTuber known as Reluctant Prophet. Myers' theory being that if more judges file lawsuits, they'll be exposed as the tyrants they are to the people and something prophet. Myers then lingered off to finish his meal of grilled kangaroo meat before wandering off in thought and ending the live stream. To many, Myers is exactly who they thought Chil DeCastro was. He is fearless, he is often high, and he screams incomprehensible loud noises based on what little of the law he knows at both prosecutors and judges. He swears in court, records and live streams freely, and has no regard for rule of law. He's essentially a 2-year-old in a man's body disrupting the court system and drawing an average of 700 people to his court-related live streams and gets away with it because he pulls his antics in Tucson, Arizona, City Court, where the judges seem to start the day with drinking problems and end the day a laughingstock if the town pothead is smart enough to make them stumble. Myers' antics are incomprehensible, vile, stupid, and pointless, but they're effective. His witness intimidation tactics put Karen Reed and Turtle Boy to shame. Witnesses disappear and end up getting charged just to make his relentless assaults go away. He is someone to be feared right now and will continue to run amok in Tucson until he either catches charges that stick or he ends up on the bench himself, as no one else will practice law in the area. Simply put, Myers is what every auditor sets out to be, and frankly, is a dangerous addition to a dying profession. Anywhere else, if someone acts the way he does, they'd be locked away. But for some reason it works in Tucson, and Myers will continue to be a force to contend with for as long as they don't care in Arizona.
Long Island Audit's crown king of fundraising. Sean Paul, Long Island Audit, Reyes proved to be the king of fundraising again on Wednesday as his promotion of Zachary Liberty Troll Cookers Support the Fight for Our Constitutional Rights Fund took the GoFundMe title on Christmas Day. The fund took in $195 in new donations on the holiday, with Reyes' own fund legal defense against unlawful arrest coming in second for the day with a $10 donation. No other campaigns recorded donations for the day. With the record tally for the holiday, Cooker is now in the lead for the monthly fundraising title. His $1,755 take edges out our own $1,730 take for our ongoing expenses fund. Craig Hendry's To Support Craig's Work fund is currently in a close third place with a $1,610 take through little help of master fundraiser Jose Chili DeCastro. Reyes' incredible fundraising efforts on behalf of Cooker come as Reyes really didn't put any extended effort into the fundraiser. He recorded a new opening and a new ending for an existing Cooker video and included the link to Cooker's GoFundMe. Reyes' 860,000 subscribers did the rest in literally minutes after he released the video. By comparison, former king of fundraising, Jose "Chili de Castro, with 625,000 subscribers, tends to promote his fundraising efforts in his near-daily live streams. Alas, even though he claims to be the top First Amendment auditor in the world, he struggles to bring in more than 200 of his subscribers per live stream and often needs multiple fundraisers in order to reach anywhere near the $1,755 total Reyes has brought in for Cooker in just 2 days. While it's really an unfair apple-to-pear comparison, we do doubt De Castro's ability to repeat Reyes' success through a standalone video, as De Castro no longer has the power to bring in large numbers of viewers to his channel. De Castro's videos do between 6,200 and 8,000 views respectively in their lifetimes on YouTube. Reyes' videos are currently pulling in between 162,000 and 430,000 views. His latest video pulled in 4,100 views in the 17 minutes since it went live this hour. The gulf between the two auditors' viewership levels is seemingly insurmountable at this time. One would wonder if De Castro would be better off buying commercial time on Reyes' standalone videos or live streams in order to promote his constitutional law scholar board game than promoting the game on his own channel. Our data shows that if De Castro wants to set the world on fire with the game, as he claimed to have a vision of doing when he was in jail, it may come to advertising on other, bigger channels to bring him the success he's promised.
Journalism is not free. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, keeping the cats fed, and writing new stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, we do have a GoFundMe set up at the address on screen right now. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.
Denver Metro Audits holds saddest ever live stream. Christopher Denver Metro Audits, Cordova's recent launch of his new personal Christopher Cordova YouTube channel saw low numbers on Christmas, as the aging First Amendment auditor appeared alone and stoned for his holiday address to his fans. The late-night live stream featured Cordova cosplaying a background extra from a 1980s Run DMC video, wearing a white Kingel fuzzy hat and white Nike tracksuit. More incoherent than normal, Cordova's mood may have been influenced by a vape he took hits from throughout the live stream. Cordova's new channel echoes a trend with other First Amendment auditors, DirectD, who have made personal channels, Christopher Ruff, that show the auditors spending time talking about their real lives in their makeshift studios while routinely getting high. The secondary channels, when monetized, provide their viewers with more personal stories that the YouTubers can then monetize as part of their growing empires. Cordova's personal channel currently has 201 subscribers and has yet to achieve level 1 monetization on YouTube. With 42 views in the 11 hours since going live, the live stream featured Cordova wishing his fans a merry holiday season. The YouTuber started the show by taking a hit off of his vape and then staring blankly for over 90 seconds before addressing his fans. Instead of a holiday address or good tidings, Cordova complained about one of his new cameras, saying he'll need to take it back on Thursday as it was broken and too dark for his setup. Cordova then went into a bizarre rant about giving and Christmas being the time of giving. He explained that it was just him, his mother, and stepdad this year, but he didn't feel like giving and called off the gift exchange program with his family. He also called off the traditional celebrations, as it was just the 3 family members. The YouTuber complained about a facility called Comfort Dental that provided discount dental services to those who didn't have insurance. He claimed that while he never had cavities in his life, the facility found cavities and charged him for unnecessary procedures. He claimed to have it confirmed by an independent dentist who said that he didn't have any cavities. Cordova eventually stated that the kindest people on earth are ex-convicts and covered in tattoos, and that one of his relatives, a fellow black sheep of the family, loved and supported his channel. He called out the rest of his family for not supporting his work and his anti-police views. Offering his opinion of sex abuse scandals in the Catholic Church, he offered a solution of letting priests getting married. He then called out the Roman Catholic Church as satanic, claiming that the church uses the fear of hell as a mind control technique. Cordova went on to express his personal belief that hell is not real, and that reincarnation is what souls experience when they die. He said that he was done with Earth and would not be returning when he dies. With long pauses as he stared blankly at this computer screen, Cordova ended the live stream after his audience dwindled to his ex-girlfriend, Teresa Sweet Teen Neal, who he announced will be taking over editing duties for his video channels. Long Island Audits gives Liberty Troll another GoFundMe win. The terrific ride of Zachary Liberty Troll Cookers support the fight for our constitutional rights fund on the back of Sean Paul, Long Island Audit, Reyes started to fade on Thursday, the third day of a GoFundMe win campaign that took Cookers Fund from the depths of obscurity to the top drawing fund for the month. Taking in $50 in new donations from 3 combined supporters, Cookers Fund was the top draw and only draw for the day, as no other funds received donations. That $50 puts Kruger well ahead of our own ongoing expenses fund, to top the monthly GoFundMe race with $1,805, almost all taken in over the past 4 days. While starting out dreadfully slow, December has rebounded to be one of the best fundraising months of 2024. The month has seen $5,280 in total donated as a combined tally to 7 different funds, bringing the overall tally for all the funds we follow to $229,575 out of an overall $728,550 goal. While Cookers Fund is cooling, with the wins from Sean Paul Reyes that propelled it skyward slowly dissipating, Reyes' hot air propelled the fund to an 11% overall completion rate. It currently stands at $3,340 out of a $30,000 goal. Not a huge gain in the overall race, but an amazing run for a week that shouldn't have brought it so much attention. In second place for the month, our own ongoing expenses fund stands at $6,145 out of a $10,000 goal and a 61% completion rate. We didn't have the advantage of a Sean Paul Reyes restream to bring in the big bucks quickly. Instead, we rely on our wonderful donors to keep us afloat each month, and we're forever in your debt for keeping both the newspaper and the newscast alive. Third place also brings a straggler. Craig Hendry's to support Craig's work may not have been the campaign they wanted to promote, but promote they did. Word of mouth and an address by Hendry brought the fund to $5,081 in total for the month and a 127% completion rate. We can't overlook Hendry's influence, even while in jail, to get the word out and to bring his fund into the running for the top fund for the month of December, especially after a disastrous start and an abandonment by Jose Chili de Castro. De Castro has made it clear that he doesn't hold fundraisers in the period between Thanksgiving and Christmas, even with a family and a self-described good friend and Hendry in desperate need of his help. Perhaps things will change now that the holiday season is coming to an end, but with De Castro's influence waning and Hendry's influence growing from behind bars, tables may eventually turn, and Hendry may need to hold fundraisers for De Castro. Stranger things have happened, and it'll be something to watch in the new year. Lane Myers Experience returns to Tucson. The Lane Myers Experience returned to Tucson, Arizona, as he made an appearance at a planned hearing in the case of Judge Alexander Ball versus the YouTuber known as Mark, the Reluctant Prophet Kelly. Myers was in a mood as he interrupted a trip to the Grand Canyon to return to Tucson, where he was expected to testify in the case. Ever flamboyant, Myers was dressed in an outfit consisting of a red, white, and blue bow tie and a t-shirt featuring Judge Ball's face, and was holding a sign claiming that Judge Ball kidnapped him. The lawsuit itself was over an incident earlier in the month where Myers was held in contempt of court for calling Ball a liar during a hearing unrelated to Kelly. Myers was taken into custody. Ball recused himself from handling the contempt case. Another judge was assigned and set a hearing for the next day. Myers was in custody for what he says was 31 hours before being released, and the contempt charge was dropped. Kelly reacted to the kidnapping of Myers by putting up attack videos about the judge on YouTube. Once he saw them, The judge reacted by filing a defamation lawsuit against Kelly to seek the removal of the videos. Coverage of the pending lawsuit has been covered everywhere else, with most legal scholars thinking the judge needed thicker skin and that the case was stupid. Myers reveled in the chaos, as it's one more way to dominate the Tucson nut-butlery that is known as their lowest-level courts. Myers presented his sign and screamed, "Judge Bell kidnapped me," at every person he saw, in an attempt to get everybody talking about his supposed kidnapping. Upon entering the court building, Myers walked past new signage that would come into play later. Apparently, like almost all other court buildings in the United States, there is a standing order from the judge who runs the building that recording is prohibited in the building without advance permission. This is a rule that other auditors have fought and lost multiple times, and essentially bans filming from the building. It's a standard rule. It's been litigated to death, and the assembled handful of auditors would refuse to abide by it later in the day, resulting in police being called. For now, Myers walked around blissfully spreading chaos in his wake until he reached the actual courtroom for the trial. Ball was meeting with Kelly outside of the courtroom, which startled Myers. It turned out that Ball had put in a motion to dismiss the case on Friday, December 20th, and there would be no hearing today other than to dismiss the case, which happened to Myers' disappointment. Myers blatantly video streamed the last few minutes of the hearing, against the court order prohibiting filming. Once the parties exited the courtroom, Myers followed Judge Ball to his office, interviewing him as they walked. While Myers appeared calm during the time the pair were together, he told the judge that he was lying when the judge revealed that he had no other choice but to file a lawsuit over Kelly's video, as he and his family were receiving death threats from people who had seen the video. Ball said he reported some of the threats to the FBI. Myers said he was friends with the FBI and that he'd checked to see that was true. Myers would later admit that he didn't really know anyone in the FBI, but declared Ball a liar anyway. Myers relentlessly berated Ball over procedures, and the two shook hands as Ball entered a restricted area, and Myers was able to go about spreading chaos for the rest of the video. The video ended with the above-mentioned great debate between Myers and his fellow YouTubers versus building security at one of the courthouses, with no reported arrests made. The angry vet lashes out at fans for treachery. Kevin, the angry vet, Soper started his Friday night live stream lying in bed from his home in Maryland, looking comfortable and preparing to address fans and community members who had angered him. Soper apparently has been monitoring the chats of both Christopher, Direct D, Ruff, and Michael, Fraud at Wrangler, Kaiser side chats, and saw people who he thought were friends of his, some who worked as his own moderators, who were openly disparaging Soper. Calling out Deb Anderson, Linda T, and Bloodborne 420 by name, Soper said that they were in Direct D's chat disparaging him while pretending to be nice to his face. He was angered by their comments and struggled with the fact that they were part of his community but were so eager to stab him in the back by disparaging him elsewhere. This brought up Soper's continuing issues with the First Amendment auditing community, which has splintered significantly since the gathering of independent journalists held in New Jersey on behalf of Leonard Leroy Truth Filipowski over the summer. Since that time, Ruff has gone after members of the community, including Soper and Jose Chili DeCastro, when previously there was an unspoken rule that independent journalists who perform audits would not openly insult or criticize each other. Soper himself has been going after former friend Terrence Albert, Taco Terry, Tracy aka Annapolis Audits, after their friendship and partnership in Soper's veterans organization ended in late summer. Strangely, Soper himself has also crossed lines and has become friends with those considered anti-auditors, as he has aligned himself with those trying to take down Michael Fraud at Wrangler Kaiser. Part of Soper's Friday night struggles with the community came when he saw other veterans in the community openly donating to Kaiser, who has been proven to be someone who has misrepresented his military background and has a long criminal history. Soper did end the stream on a positive note, indicating that he was working with Beezy Watchdog on the incident he claimed he had with police in South Carolina earlier in the year. Beezy Watchdog had been critical of Soper in the past, claiming that he could find no evidence of the incident, which Soper says left him with a brain injury, was reported by police. Apparently, the two have patched up their differences and are trying to work together to expose the alleged incident. Soper ended the live stream by again promising that he'll release footage of the incident once his lawsuit against the police is filed. The Boost Scars Mission for Veterans and Citizens GoFundMe campaign saw a single $5 donation for Friday, coming in second to Liberty Trolls Support the Fight for Our Constitutional Rights campaign, which took in $20 in donations. No other campaigns received donations for the day.
Journalism is not free. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, keeping the cats fed, and writing news stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, we do have a GoFundMe set up at the address on screen right now. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.
Acura Amanda has crisis of faith on Friday livestream. Part-time auditor Acura Amanda Vielma questioned the nature of auditing and freedom during her Friday night livestream, declaring that there was no point to exercising rights as Americans have no rights. Vielma and boyfriend/love of her life, Palm Beach Free Press, were standing at a gathering of car enthusiasts at a strip mall in Florida, a routine gathering that occasionally gets broken up by the police. Friday night, Vielma featured extended shots of cars and people during the 40-minute video, at one point focusing in on a heavy-set woman who was having a medical emergency. A fire truck and several Palm Beach County Sheriff's vehicles responded to the woman. At one point, a man, apparently not associated with emergency workers, could be seen dramatically fanning the woman with his hands. Vielma walked around the scene, looking to escape the ever-present music and briefly leaving the side of Palm Beach Free Press. She directly addressed the camera, questioning the rights of Americans and declaring that we currently live in a police state. She explained that she hadn't been seen by her fans in a while, as both her last live stream and released videos are from 5 months ago, as she's apparently been questioning the rights of Americans since Palm Beach Free Press was convicted of unknown offenses. Continuing to complain, she said that she was successful in defending herself from her own charges, but was unable to help Palm Beach Free Press when he got into trouble. She then apologized to her fans for encouraging them to go out and challenge their rights, as she no longer felt that Americans had any rights. At one point, she appeared distressed as she openly asked, "What kind of rights do you have when a court can just take them away?" She said that every time that she got in trouble on behalf of her rights, she got nothing out of it. While she did announce that she had filed a lawsuit against police officers from a previous arrest, she seemed to indicate that she was no longer actively seeking out targets to First Amendment audit. Vielma again told her fans not to challenge the police or flex their rights, as she felt that they had no rights in America, before finding Palm Beach Free Press and ending the live stream. It is unclear when or if Vielma will go live again on her channel. Denver Metro Audits has holiday miracle. Christopher Denver Metro Audits, Cordova came away happy from the Records Department of the Jefferson County, Colorado, jail Friday afternoon as he received a batch of documents from previously made FOIA requests. Cordova has been seeking footage from his entire time within the Jefferson County Jail, where he served his federal time for charges involving his sentencing, ignoring of official signage, and recording in a Social Security office back in 2022. The case law reaffirming recording prohibitions at government facilities, now known as the Cordova Rule, was recently used to convict auditors George, Rogue Nation, Metz, and Joshua. This is a public service, Gray, in another series of incidents at Social Security offices in Florida in 2022 and 2023. Cordova was held in the Jefferson County Jail as he was sentenced to 15 days in federal prison, and normal federal prison facilities are not set up to hold prisoners for such short terms. The YouTuber ultimately served 16 days and has threatened the federal government with a lawsuit based on the addition of being held for an extra day. The status of that announced lawsuit and what sort of compensation Cordova would be seeking is unknown at this time. Cordova put in FOIA requests for all the footage from cameras while he was being processed at the federal court before being transferred to the Jefferson County Jail, along with all footage of himself from his time in jail. He has announced that he will be producing a documentary on his time in prison for release later this year. Friday's visit was the third or fourth in Cordova's visits to the Jefferson County Records Department and was the first visit that saw the YouTuber walk away with records. His most recent visit saw Cordova rage as parts of his requests were denied due to a snafu in the system, and he recorded himself making the hour-plus drive from his home to document his rage against workers. Cordova didn't have much to rage about on Friday, as the snafu preventing the records was cleared up. He did briefly mention that the records worker mispronounced his last name, but didn't linger on it and thus didn't have one of the epic wine sessions he's been known for since getting out of prison earlier in the year. Previous visits to the records department have seen an angered Cordova call for brigading of the employees at the facility, openly giving out the names and contact details of workers while reminding his viewers that they can redress their government by contacting the workers directly. Cordova did not call for brigading of the worker who helped him on Friday, though took his name for future use in Cordova's documentary.